Hello everyone, welcome to Masechet Eruvin using Minecraft. Today we're going to take a look at the first Mishnah to start Masechet Eruvin, and we are going to try and clarify some concepts discussing the basic ideas of what the courtyards would look like in the times of the Mishnah and around the times of the second Beit HaMikdash, and from there we'll see some concepts. So to start, I'm going to read the first Mishnah. The first Mishnah in Masechet Eruvin begins with the lines Mavoi shehu gavua milamala me'esrim ama imait. So Mavoi, we're going to look at it what it is over here. It's a courtyard that has an entryway into the courtyard. Now we're going to show it on the diagram, but I'll read the rest of the Mishnah and then I'll explain what the Mishnah is doing, hopefully with using live demonstrations. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Eino Tzarich. You don't need to be lowering the height of the mavoi from below 20 amot. We're going to see it in depth. You might. If it's wider than 10 amot, and the width of the entryway to the courtyard, then you have to lessen the width. If it has a sort of petach, which is a form of entryway into the mavoi, we will show what it looks like over here, then you do not need to make the height any lower. The basic principles will now be explained using Minecraft. Here we are in Minecraft. This is a demonstration, it's a representation of what a courtyard or a joint courtyard could have looked like in times of the Mishnah. Now over here, where my cursor is, you should be able to see, is what we're trying to represent as a public thoroughfare, Reshut Harabim, a public area. That Reshut Harabim has different definitions, but it is not owned by anybody. It's a public thoroughfare where people cross by and cross through every single day. That courtyard that we're looking at over here is a joint courtyard. What do I mean by that? There are multiple individual courtyards, each one a chatzer, courtyard in Hebrew, and those chatzerot, courtyards, have a joint entryway, a shared entryway, which is called a mavoi in the lashon, in the language of the Mishnah. This mavoi is from the understood as there is the Reshut Harabim, that main road we were looking at. The mavoi leads off Reshut Harabim, and from the mavoi, there are individual entryways into each individual chatzer, where there are homes inside that chatzer. Now, the Mishnah discussed the concept of putting a mavoi that has something called a korah. A korah is a horizontal, I stand corrected, beam that runs across the entryway of a mavoi. Now, the Mishnah is running off the assumption that one knows, as we learned in Masechet Shabbat, that those who carry 4 amot in a public area on Shabbat, Reshut Harabim, they are chayiv, meaning that they have violated a commandment in the Torah. Now, in order to carry, there were many different, takanas and different decrees set up by the Rabbanan to allow one to carry and to be mindful that it is Shabbat, and thus there were different ways to allow one to carry, one of which the Mishnah is discussing is a mavoi. Within a mavoi, this is the mavoi, one can carry if there is 3 different ways of identifying this is a mavoi, then one is able to carry in it. At least 3 basic ways. The first one is a korah, like we discussed. Now, imagine this was not here. Hopefully that wasn't too delayed, but this over here is now the entryway into mavoi, and if this mavoi had nothing there, one would not be able to carry from this public road into the mavoi and into their chatzer. Meaning, they wouldn't be able to carry from the public road, but one would not be able to carry from their chatzer into another chatzer, theoretically, and walk through the mavoi. Because a mavoi it's joined by different people. They all have their own homes, but their homes, it's not even their individual home. It's a courtyard in which their home is located. So in order to carry, it has some sort of public concept to it one needs to build a kora. A kora serves the purpose of giving recognition that one is in a mavoi. That's why Rabbanan said, if one builds this horizontal beam going across the top of the entryway to the mavoi, then one can carry in the mavoi. Now the Mishnah was discussing how high can the mavoi be. If it's too high, you won't notice it possibly. It won't catch your eye. And because of that, you won't be able to carry in the mavoi. It won't be a kosher kora. It will not be a kosher mavoi to allow you to carry in it, in the sense that kosher is being used here. The second way the Mishnah discusses that one can carry within a mavoi into its own chatzer, or from a chatzer into a mavoi, is by the use of something called a lechi. A lechi is very similar. A lechi, however, instead of being horizontal, is a vertical pole. A vertical pole can be built against the wall. This is a simple example. That way one can go and enter the mavoi. One before they leave the mavoi will see this pole, this lechi, lamed chet yud, and know that they can no longer carry outside this mavoi. Thus, it was a legitimate method allowing one to carry. The third method that's discussed is something called the tzur de petach that we saw in the last line of the Mishnah. The Mishnah, once again, right over here. V'im yesh lo tzur de petach af al pi shehu rachav me'eser amot ein tzarich lema'it. If there is tzur de petach, one does not need to make the height of the mavoi horizontal beam be lower. Meaning that the horizontal beam, we said in the first line of the Mishnah, if it is taller than esrim amah, taller than 20 amot, I might have said 10 amot before, 20 amot is the maximum height before one would have to lower the kora in the mavoi, the horizontal beam in the mavoi, according to this first opinion in the Mishnah. The second opinion, Rabbi Yehuda says you do not need to lower it. The Gemara discusses that. The width we said was 10 amos. That you cannot have more than 10 amos. The width, meaning this cannot be longer than 10 amos. Otherwise, people might not notice that it's a mavoi. And that's another rule. To allow one to carry within a mavoi, it has to be less than 10 amot in the width, less than 20 amot in the height. And the third method we mentioned was tzur de petach, which looks like an opening to a building, or it has the form of a complete entryway. What do we mean by that? It could be something along these lines. It has an archway where you have vertical and horizontal poles meet together. Now let's look at an overall view and we'll sum up what we said so far. Hopefully in future videos we can get more technical. This is what a courtyard might have looked like at the times of the Mishnah. This is a mavoi. The mavoi is closed in 3 walls. One back wall and has side walls that lead into different chatzerot, courtyards. These chatzerot contain houses. In order to carry within this mavoi, we mentioned 3 ways to allow one to carry that Rabbanan instituted. The first one being a kora, the second one being a lechi, third one being a tzur de petach. The Mishnah discusses these options, and hopefully we can allow these options to become more clear through the use of Minecraft.